Electricity comes back on, your appliances are going to work fine, unless they're totally they're plugged in. You're going to have power, no big deal. Gas appliances are a little bit different. If there are gas appliances that have been working for years and years and years with no problem, all of a sudden they lose that pilot light. These Basso switches and some of these other thermocouples that have been operating fine, now all of a sudden are not operating fine. They've failed in an open position. You go in and you turn that gas back on, or we have a situation where we turn the gas back on and reintroduce gas to the house, and those pilots aren't working right, we're introducing gas into a structure at that point. So we have to physically visit every premise that has lost service. So it's a lot different than it would be for an electric utility. So that's why we don't want anybody operating any big valves other than gas company personnel. And that's basically what those last three slides talk about. Now we'll be coming back to this here in just a minute, but again, talking about parking downhill of the area of the potential gas leak. So the gas leak was called in right here at 511. So you want to make sure you're not parking down street, but we're going to come back to this and visit here in just a minute. Obviously, you want to make use of your PPE. Always assume that there are multiple gas leaks. You've got to verify that the area is clear and check surrounding areas, including across the street, surrounding building, and subsurface structures. Make sure you use the calibrated and CGI. It's wintertime. Your conditions out here, they do impact how gas will migrate. So if there's a good layer of frost on the ground, gas may not come up right from where it normally will. It'll travel. It could travel for many blocks. Talking with the utility as far as coordination with us, what the action levels are, the communication, and any readings that you may be getting on your equipment. So just make sure you communicate that with us. Once the gas has been controlled and source of ignition has been eliminated, make sure that you take care in ventilating buildings once again. So we talked about this a little while ago. So this is a scenario. This is real life happening when you get called out. So we got called from 511, but here's really where the gas is leaking from. And I can't tell you how many situations that I read all the time where gas companies go out and they respond to a certain area because that resident smelled gas. So they show up at the house. Well, really it was the house that was 3 doors down that had work that was done in front of it 3 years ago where somebody just nicked the service line. Well, over years that thing corroded and then it finally gave loose. But the problem was the folks 2 doors down, they moved out 3 months ago. So there was nobody there that they didn't know that they didn't have gas. In the meantime, gas is filled up, the sewer system. You look at all these points of entry into a house. So the yellow indicates natural gas, or as we would say in Georgia, yellow indicates natural gas. Red indicates electricity. Blue indicates water, and green indicates sewer. All of this stuff is underground. So these are all potential travel sources for natural gas to enter into a house. I hear every gasman say it's a gasman's worst nightmare to have gas in a sewer because you've got all these easy access points into all these other houses. So you want to consider the migration patterns of natural gas. So just because you get called to 513 doesn't mean just check 513 in the area. And that's what we tell our folks all the time. With experience, they know, oh, the orange is cable. So there's all kind of telecommunications. There's all kind of different areas of entry into homes. Good stuff. That was 513. And this is, yeah. So I don't have the particulars about how long they let that happen, but we hear it all the time about folks have talked about, I thought I smelled gas leak. It's been leaking for a year. I've smelled gas. I've smelled this smell for a while. You just don't think anything about it. This is a good one. Watch this subfloor right here. So I don't know if you can see that, but you see the whole, you know, they're in the basement, the whole subfloor just lifted off the ground. That's one of my favorites. This is a good one. So that's basically what's going to happen. Natural gas, it's going to put stuff up and out, and it's going to collect at the top, and it'll start to filter down. We have another one here. Just for fun.
You don't want to send that video to the glove companies,
No. Well, I mean, this is a reality that you guys deal with. I mean, this stuff happens while we're doing. We're not doing this for fun and games. It's stuff that can really, really happen. You guys, you're not first responders or firefighters because there's great money in it. You know, you have a desire to help the community. So do we. We want to make sure that this problem. Look, hey, we want as many burner tips using natural gas as possible. That's great for everybody. But there's going to be times when things like this could potentially happen. So, you know, we just want to make sure that everybody kind of is very aware of, you know, what could be going on. I gotta watch this. This is huge, man. I guess it's just feeding it. Propane tank. All right. CO. We do deal with CO a lot as well because, you know, in the wintertime, folks are firing their furnaces back up. They've been off all summer, and a lot of times they're not burning the gas correctly. CO it's colorless, it's odorless, it's got a higher flammable range, 12 to 74%. Got a higher flammable ignition temperature. It is extremely dangerous. It does interfere with the distribution of oxygen in your bloodstream. Basically, when natural gas is not burned completely, that's when CO starts to happen. Symptoms of CO exposure, a lot of folks confuse it with a common cold. You know, a little bit of headache, shortness of breath, queasiness. Y'all know this, flush face. Folks, a lot of times you hear people that when they go to their home, they feel sick, but when they go to work, they feel great. They always, you know, I feel better when I'm at work. I just want to stay at work all the time because when I get home, I'm always tired. And you know, they talk about their dogs. Just seems so lethargic. He used to have so much more life when he was a puppy or when he was a little bit younger. Now these days he just lays around all the time. Some warning signs. It may result in an acrid odor, similar to vehicle exhaust. If you notice condensation on windows and walls and windows, it could be an indication there's not enough air movement in there to supply combustion air to those appliances that are burning natural gas. So that could be an indication. And lethargic pets, confused or disoriented occupants. So whenever you go out on a CO call, make sure you follow your standard operating procedure for those investigations. Now, got some of the different symptoms based off exposure level that we have here. Now, I can send any of you guys this whole presentation. I don't think we've got this in our handout, but just an indication of some things that could happen to you based off your level of exposure, all the way up to death within a certain amount of time based off your exposure level. So you may live in a house that's not completely burning your natural gas completely and feel no effects of it. So there is a certain level that we can take. It's, it's these higher levels over longer amounts of time that would hurt us. A lot of folks, have the CO monitors in their house, but natural gas and propane both, they've got some inherent dangers and risks. Neither one of those gases are those appliances are burning those gases completely. It could have a bad situation. So the very nature of you being a first responder, what this talks about is you want to run in. So you may want to take an unreasonable risk, but make sure you take the time to recognize all the dangers that we talked about as far as CO is concerned. Be familiar with your fire company's standard operating procedures for how you want to handle natural gas and propane emergencies, and make sure that you're coordinating with subject matter experts as you need. So this is what we don't want you doing. I don't know if you can see this very clearly.
Friday, construction crews rupturing a gas line along Miller Drive and 112th Avenue. Crews blocking off all lanes of Miller Drive as they work to cap the leak. Cypress Elementary School has also been placed on lockdown as a precaution.
Now those are firefighters in a hole with blowing gas in the Miami-Dade area, which is a Florida City Gas Company, which is an AGL subsidiary. Now, this, I don't know who this got in trouble, but it got somebody in trouble in my company. Because the story that I hear is that our VP wasn't made aware of this until he was watching the news. And he starts making some phone calls. Why are these firefighters in a hole with blowing gas with our stuff? So this is what we don't want you guys doing. You are not in the gas repair business. You are in the public safety business. So just make sure, yeah, we're not going to ask you to get in a hole with blowing gas. We don't ask our people to get in a hole with blowing gas. We should have been out there. I don't know where our folks are. I don't know why this was not.
Hooters is across the street.
Yeah, yeah. Guys are at the bar. You guys got this? Yeah. So yeah, we should have been digging back somewhere along in here and shutting off that flow. So I don't know all the particulars that happened in the story, but this was Miami-Dade. This is loud enough.
Quiet.
There we are on fire. Obviously there was gas that was getting into a different structure. Anyway. Y'all have probably seen this one as well.
We start the 10 tonight with unbelievable video. A massive explosion rocks a strip mall. Firefighters rushing in to evacuate people caught in the fireball. And tonight, amidst the rubble, the miracle at this mall. Good evening, everyone. Brian Bolton.
And I'm Sean Yancey. 8 firefighters and a Washington gas worker burned when that strip mall blew up. It happened at the Penmar Shopping Center in Forestville. Fox 5 covering every angle for you tonight. Maureen Newman up first with the very latest from the scene. Maureen?
Well, Sean and Brian, fire officials and investigators for the most part have cleared the scene, but the property management is now securing the area, and as you can see, cleaning up from that explosion. I'm being told that the epicenter of this blast was really centered at that vacant business you see right there. Neighbors tell me they had been smelling gas because work was being done there. There is no way at this point, though, to know if that smell of gas led to the explosion here this afternoon. You can see the severity of the damage of that explosion to these businesses. Now take a look at how it all happened. Fires.
So I think those were firemen standing right there, right in front of them when it happened. So, and I think there was a responder that was inside as well from the gas company that was performing an investigation into it. So it just shows you that those firemen were right there, and this one right here, this is from Allentown. Now, one of the things that you'll see in this video it may be fire department, it may be, I think it's actually the gas company that were performing some investigations, and they actually went up and they may have been trying to ventilate or evacuate a house when this one happened. This was just, that's the beginning of it. And they kind of roll back a little bit. So this is the actual beginning that leading up to that what we just saw. These are crews that are trying to do some investigation. They may even be making a repair right here. But got a lot of activity going on. And these two gentlemen here, like first responders, so they're walking up and they're probably trying to locate the perimeter of the leak and doing investigations. Like we talked, I mean, this is a common procedure, checking all residents that we can. So they're going to the house, and it looks like they're leaving the house, and as they leave the house, I don't really know, if, this is what I was talking about a minute ago. A lot of times when a structure has natural gas in it, it's beyond that upper explosive limit. It's beyond that 15% level. And then they probably opened the door up when they were doing their investigation. The gas actually got down to that explosive limit, and then that's when that happened right there. I don't know all the particulars of what happened, but this was fairly close by. Now, some of the things we're doing. We've got there are pipeline safety programs that we do to try to make sure that that stuff doesn't happen. It's required by gas standards and New Jersey State Board of Public Utilities. We do leak surveys, walking surveys, mobile surveys, business area surveys, winter patrol surveys. So we are always, all the time we're sending folks out monitoring our lines with flame ionization units, with CGI units. We even use infrared. There's infrared technology to be able to see gas leaking up from the street. So we do a lot of different things to try to find leaks and make a repair when we do find them.
So, quick point. We all have thermal imaging cameras. That will that actually show up pretty quick for you?
So yours does. There's infrared technology that companies like Heat and I can't remember some other ones, but they say that natural gas has a certain pattern that these things are geared to be able to shoot and see it. So they could do surveys from a distance without actually having to walk over the gas line. They could point it at the area where the gas line should be and see if anything's leaking up. So that technology's out there. It's constantly advancing. This particular unit he's using right here, it's a flame ionization unit. It's got a little fire that's actually burning, and whenever it's drawing gas into it, and what is that? So it's this little tube right here is drawing gas up in. He's walking over the main along the street, so he's drawing a sample into it. And whenever natural gas goes across that flame, it flames up bigger, gives a reading, and he's able to kind of pinpoint where we have leaks on our system. So there's a lot of different things that we're doing. Outside meter set assessments, selective sampling based off the meter that's sitting out of your house. How old is it? We're going and pulling those meters and testing them and seeing how good they're acting or reacting. And obviously we've got a lot of our integrity management plans that have came about as a result of San Bruno. There's some things that all gas companies are having to do now, as well as our pipeline emergency plans. There's a lot of different things that we do from a survey standpoint. So there again, there's that flame pack that he's using to monitor meter sets, sewer, manhole covers, all the facilities that we have on our streets. And we send, we've got a contract with a company that actually goes out on transmission lines like this that we own, or any areas that we own. So we're not the only ones that are doing this. I promise you that Columbia Gas has some mobile survey units that are going out there and going up and down pipeline right-of-ways on these back cross-country roads, and they have a system set up like this where they're drawing samples up to try to.
How often do they do inspections?
So we're required to do 3-year and 5-year surveys. They're dependent on the way that the residences or commercial establishments are set up. Sometimes we have to do them annually. So it just depends on, there's a number of factors that go into it.
Right, depends on the pressure that's in the line, if it's a, if it's a distribution line, if it's a transmission line, the severity of the line, there's a lot of factors.
And the pipeline itself, is it a cast iron? Is it steel or is it plastic? We get a little bit more leeway with plastic than we would a cast iron. Cast iron has to be surveyed a lot more frequently as opposed to plastic. All of that, those are rules that we don't make up. Those are rules that are handed down by the DOT that we have to adhere to. Again, we have this, all gas companies are falling up underneath distribution integrity management plans. We have to know our system. This, to keep incidences like this from happening, the federal government, PHMSA, is on our tail. They are laying awake at night and making sure that doesn't happen, making sure San Bruno doesn't happen, making sure Allentown doesn't happen. Again, they're holding us accountable. Do you know where all your we're having to send leak reports in? When are you repairing those leaks? Give me, we're having to do all kind of things that we've never had to do before. So we're having to get down to the level of what time, when Mike sends his guys out to do maintenance on regulators at a regulator station, they want to know the springs that were changed in the diaphragm, when the diaphragm was changed on the regulator, to that degree. They don't want to know just leaks. I mean, they are holding us accountable to know our system, as well as, we should. We should have that type of information. If there's any questions as far as what we're doing to maintain our integrity, as far as our integrity management program, we've got that information available. We've got emergency plans that we do as well. Talked about it earlier. We do tabletop exercises with our guys. We are, we're constantly putting before them things that could possibly go wrong, and our personnel go through an annual training every year. We bring our folks in for an entire week at a time to go over leak investigation procedures, pipe locating procedures, leak repairs and response, emergency response, all different types of things that we run our folks through on an annual basis, as well as their safety and OSHA things that they need to do. Where we need your help, corrosion stuff's going to happen. Third-party damages can totally be controlled. Basically, folks are not digging within the area they're supposed to be digging, and when they get outside of the area where they're supposed to be doing construction, a lot of times they hit things. So we do need your help looking out for markout. You guys are out there in the area. Some of you may even be in the construction business. Make sure that you're calling for a markout within the amount of time. If you see construction in an area where there's no paint or no flags, you as first responders ought to have some skin in the game to be able to go ask that contractor, hey, where's your locate? Make sure that they're following the letter of the law as far as markouts are concerned. It's free. Calling 811 is free. We're not charging to go out there and put flags in the ground. It's our job to make sure that we're letting letting the community know where our facilities are. So just like this is a picture, that white area back there was the intended dig site that they dug outside of the proposed construction zone and ended up digging into one of our gas lines there. Tolerance zones. We need to make sure that we're on our facility. We got a lot of plastic in the ground. Our pipe locators aren't locating plastic pipe. We can locate steel pipe. We can locate cast iron. We're locating a little piece of wire. It's no bigger than a coat hanger for our plastic. So sometimes construction crews have put in the gas line over here. We call it a tracer wire, a little bit of skewer off the side of it. Well, our locator is going to put this mark right where that tracer wire is. We need to make sure that folks, if they're digging within that 18-inch tolerance zone where that line is, that they're using hand tools. They're not digging with mechanized excavating equipment. They need to be spotting the facilities too. So that's what it talks about. Hand digging in an area, 24 inches within both sides of the markout tank. There's the number, it's free. got this information up here, got all the books that you would need. They got to have their own markout request. Provide the physical location where they're going to be digging, not a PO box. They need to call 3 business days ahead, but not more than 10 business days. They must verify their location, their dig date, and they need to have a copy of their request ticket on the site. Should somebody need to see it. They have to start digging within 10 days of the date they call, or the ticket will be no longer valid. They need to take reasonable care to maintain their marks too. If they go over the top of them or mess them up, if it's paints or flags or anything like that, they need to try to remark it themselves, or at least maintain those marks that they have out there. Every ticket expires 45 days after they call. So if construction's going past 45 days, they need to call on day 42 to make sure that it's reset. Just like I said, I'll cover all this information. A homeowner or excavator causes any damage, obviously we want to call 911. Report that damage to the facility operator, and there's information there as far as what they need to do. Charts in, I've got these handouts up here, the little pamphlets that show the dates as far as the time frame, and when they can call, day to wait, and when they can start digging. Color code, as far as all the utilities are concerned. Just a little background, we've got data from 2011. We had 141 gas damages just on the Elizabethtown gas system alone. But we had to go locate 58,000 different requests. So we got 58,000 calls to go locate because of construction that was going on. Out of those 141 damages, 24% resulted because folks didn't call for a markout. And we had over half of them were failure by the excavator to dig within what they should have been doing. So they were using mechanized equipment within the 24-inch mark, and they hit our stuff.
Is there a standard depth?
Standard depth. There is a standard depth as far as distribution range. I think it's 18 inches of cover, but that's always changing. That line that was put in, Bruce, what year did you say that line was put in?
When was it put in?
Yeah.
76, I think.
76. So they put that line in 76. They had their recommended 18 inches of cover. 10 years later, somebody comes and they do something, and they grade it down.
There's no way you can just turn around and say, here's the depth, that's where it's at.
Right, right. So the main point that we try to tell anybody that's digging is that if you're within 24 inches on either side of that locator mark, you should be digging by hand. You should be using hand tools. Can folks hit stuff with hand tools and cause a leak? Absolutely. But that's the difference. You hit something with a shovel or a pickaxe, you're not going to get fined as heavy as you would with mechanized excavator. I think this one right here.
Crews have responded to the
this is just
Center in Anaheim, where a fire has led to an explosion. People have called us saying they could feel that blast from miles away. Thank you for watching us tonight. There was another view of this with that blast that is all over Facebook tonight. Stephen Dill and Travis Fulcher shot this on a cell phone and posted it to Facebook. Take a look here. It's a little bit grainy, but they caught the exact moment of that huge explosion out there. I'll tell you, just minutes after Travis posted this, hundreds of people had already shared this online with their friends. You can see just how powerful that blast was. I spoke to both of them tonight. They say that fireball that came out of there is probably 100 feet tall, and they could feel the heat in their car. Let's go live to the scene now where James Girardi is standing.
Yeah, everybody.
And continuing our coverage of our top story tonight, 18 people were injured after a natural gas explosion in Springfield. 22's reporter Ryan Walsh is still out there on Pearl Street overlooking the damage on Worthington Street.
Since the police have Worthington Street blocked off between Chestnut and Spring Street, this is really the best view of the devastation. In front of you is where Scores Gentlemen's Club used to be, a couple other buildings just completely destroyed by this natural gas explosion. You can see the crane already out working to clear some of the rubble. About 25 buildings in the area were impacted, from a strip club turned into rubble to a daycare relocated after the tornado damaged again. And windows and glass, just about everywhere.
Well, that's the thing.
What started as a routine gas leak turned several buildings into rubble. Had everyone from months in the Westfield wondering what happened after feeling their home shake. Around 4:20, a natural gas leak was reported. By 5:20, the smell was gone, and it looked like business was close to going back to normal.
We're going to let the gas dissipate once these buildings will meters, and once the levels come down, the LDL comes down to a safe level, everyone will back in. But at this point, we're going to keep everybody out of the building.
Thank God they did. Less than 5 minutes later.
5:25, there was an explosion. The building was completely level.
A boom, a blast, then glass and bricks flying everywhere.
We were inside, the whole building shook. I walked out to the end of the road, and apparently a building blew off down the road. There's bricks right next to them, all the way down to this end of the road from the building that exploded with the gas.
So basically, that was a good outcome of an evacuation. So, gas company had indication that something bad could potentially happen. Got everybody out. Something bad did happen, but luckily nobody was hurt. Just some numbers there for the damages that we have by the county in New Jersey. What county are we in?
Morris.
Bunch of moves wouldn't keep me.
Neighbors too.
So this just in case any of you guys want to transfer. All right, so yeah, we are partners in safety, making sure that and we're working together on emergency and relief response. As far as construction, inspection, excavation oversight, we are asking for your help. You guys are out there as well as our folks. You see excavation going on outside, and they don't have locate marks out there. There's potential for us to meet, so let's make sure that we're making sure we're educating some folks out here. Do have, we are growing. We're adding folks to the line, so it is happening, and making sure that we're maintaining our stuff safely, and so we can make sure that we don't meet other than in a situation like this. A lot of information from the different operators that are out here. I've got this in your handout up here. If you need that, any of this information. One of the things that that I want to call your attention to is this right here. So there's a great CBT that we've put together that first responders can go in, and if there's other folks that need access or kind of want to know a little bit more about some of the stuff that we talked about tonight, you can go to this, and this is all in the handout as well. Have access to this with the password there, and can go in and educate yourself on basically everything that we talked about tonight. All right, that's basically it for me. Questions, comments, concerns?
What's the reason for Elizabeth Town Gas not offering repair service to their customers?
We got out of that business many years ago. And even Atlanta Gas Light used to do the same thing. It's one of those deals where it just, obviously there's a dollar amount to where it's a little bit cost prohibitive to be able to do that anymore.
But they would charge a repair contract or maintenance contract like the other companies. Right.
Yeah, so there's also probably some risk factors that our company just decided they didn't want to take anywhere. They would rather, one of the things that we do is there's a certain amount of repairs that we can do that'll keep that pilot burning, but above and beyond that certain level, we'll just partner with an HVAC, or we'll basically tell folks to call a plumber or HVAC guy if it's just an extensive repair.
Mark, maybe a question for Mike. So within our municipal borders, we've got an Elizabethtown facility adjacent to the Columbia gas line over on West Mill Road. Can you explain exactly what goes on in that building?
That's called our Middle Valley Gate Station. So basically what we're doing is we're bringing in supply pressure from the supplier itself, and that can be up to 1,200 pounds. We turn around, we bring that into our facility, we meter it, we measure it, we make sure that it's cut down to a usable pressure for our high pressure system, which would be 175 pounds, and then we would put that back out into our distribution system, going down, also being cut down from 175 down to 25 pounds, getting into certain lines that are going through your neighborhoods and through the streets and everything else to feed the businesses and the residentials your houses that are going to cross. Your houses that you have right now, the regulators that are on there, you're receiving 6 inches of water column. You're not receiving pounds. You have 6 inches of water column that are coming on. It's not even a pound yet, and that's what's being delivered to your house at that point. Most of the area up here is an elevated pressure system, so it is a 25-pound system, or can go up to 50 pounds, depends on where you're at. But you'll notice that you'll have regulators on your meter sets that are sitting there, and that'll drop it down to that 6 inches that's being delivered to you for your burn.
Any plans of expanding the plant?
That gate station, there is no plans on expanding where we're at. Basically, we have to turn around. When we build a gate station, we have to go through the planning stage. We have to contact the Board of Public Utilities, the state, the feds, you guys, the whole 9 yards. We bring everybody in as where it's at. And then we turn around and under the tariff, we figure out how much gas supply, how much demand we have. We have to figure out how much capacity is on Columbia's pipe that we can take off to put out into the system. And basically, right now, the way the capacities are, we're not going to get any more from them at this point because they've already sold off their capacities to other gate stations, other facilities besides Elizabethtown because they keep on going up. So, you got.
Yeah, periodically we get these, I call them blow-off valves. It's like my street, in the sidewalk, there's pipes that come up.
You got, district regulator setups that are sitting into the streets. What that's doing is they have the high pressure gas that's going out there 125 pounds or elevated pressure 25 pounds, 50 pounds, and they drop down to a lower pressure. So if you have a low pressure system in your neighborhood, most places up here don't, most of it's elevated, what they're doing is they're bringing the high pressure, 175 pounds in, dropping it down to the user pressure of 25 pounds, going to your houses. There's regulators, there's reliefs on each one of those district regulator sites. So basically, those are a mechanical failure control point. If they turn around and the regulators themselves are not closing off or not allowing or letting too much pressure getting into the system that's feeding your house, your businesses, it's going to turn around, it's going to pop that relief, and we call them telltale reliefs. If there's a pop and it goes off, basically it's saying, hey, I got an issue. It's really made to let the neighborhood say, hey, there's something going on, I smell gas, let's get the gas company out here. We go out, see what's going on, and we'll adjust that. Then there's other reliefs that are full blown, and there will be the big stacks that you'll see coming off of certain areas, and when they go, they're going. And that's made to take the full capacity of the gas.
Do any of those reset?
Yeah, the telltales will reset themselves. The main line ones that go across, they won't. We'll have to turn around and fix them.
So it's not uncommon when we get a call and we go out and we search and you can't find it.
For the system that's really up here going across, we also monitor every point that's going across here. So we know you guys have had, not only just you, but certain areas going across. You'll sit there and we'll get a bunch of phone calls out for, hey, we smell gas, we smell gas. Well, we're turning around, we're also monitoring the systems going across, and we're seeing no increase in pressures whatsoever. So we're doing the same thing. We come out, we look, we're monitoring our reliefs to see what's going on. We're monitoring the pressures. The pressures never got to the point for the release to blow, so we have to turn around and basically say it wasn't our release at that point. It could be somebody was manufacturing something at the time, somebody was doing something with propane at the time. You know, we've had it actually. The oddest one we've had so far was down in Linden, down by actually the prison. There was a place that was doing cookies, and for some reason the batch that they put out smelled like mercaptan. And we got calls. Don't ask me what they were doing, but it ended up being PSE&G got called. We got called. Actually, it got to the point where it went over to on the island, Staten Island, on the other side. So everybody was running around going crazy. And basically, then about 3 months later, we were in a meeting. And they're like, well, we had a process that was going a little awry, and it was a baker. And it was like, wow. And everybody thought it was natural gas. So very, very strange, but that's
so Mike, that gate station is where you tap into the main line?
Yes,
exactly.
We're bringing it off our high pressure line. So Columbia's line going down Columbia Trail, and we have liquid at that point. Negative, it's gas. So it's just high pressure gas. So we're bringing in their gas line into our station, and it's going through our piping, through our regulators, through our controls, and we're cutting that down to user pressure, which will be 175 pounds or 50 or 45.
So you're not doing any vaporization?
We're not doing any vaporization here. The only place you would do vaporization is at like an LNG facility, and I actually run that one at Elizabethtown Homes, and that's over in Elizabeth, New Jersey, so that's over by the water.
So Mike, all of the gas that's used by residences, by businesses locally goes through that gate station, is that right?
Yes, goes through one of our gate stations, right?
Can you remote control the valves in that gate station? So if there was a significant leak downstream of the gates, into the community?
That's not made to do an automatic shut-off so that it would shut down the system complete going across. It's made to back off pressures.